It's time for From the Shortgrass, presented by UAMS Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine with Trey, a golf podcast for those who love golf, struggle with golf, and just like to enjoy the outdoors and fellowship with friends, all while chasing a ball around, trying to put it in a 4 1/4 inch diameter hole. From the Shortgrass is presented by UAMS Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, and brought to you by Stevens Incorporated, an independent financial services firm with the freedom to focus on what matters most. By Beechwood Hospitality, we partner with you to deliver high-yield results by managing, developing, and investing in top-quality hospitality assets. And now, from the Shortgrass, here's your host, Trey.
Welcome to another edition of From the Shortgrass, presented by UAMS Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. I am your host, Trey. UAMS Ortho now open at the Orthopedic and Spine Hospital at UAMS Health. If you have an orthopedic injury, sports, work, or anything else, walk in and see the best in orthopedic care. Open Monday through Friday, 8 to 8, and Saturday, 8 to noon. Coming up on this edition of From the Shortgrass, presented by UAMS Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, I sit down with Harold Graeter, Associate Executive Director at the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. You might say, why are you sitting down with him? Well, he loves the game of golf. In fact, he's got an interesting story about how he began following the game of golf and getting involved with it. He grew up in Memphis, and of course, the FedEx St. Jude Classic was a long-standing tournament in Memphis, Tennessee. In fact, Harold Graeter goes back to when the tournament was not played at TPC Southwind. You'll hear more about that after the break. Stay with us.
I'm Dr. Lowry Barnes. When it comes to orthopedic care, there's no place like the Orthopedic and Spine Hospital at UAMS Health. We built this hospital just for you, with state-of-the-art surgical suites, advanced technology, and the state's largest group of fellowship-trained orthopedic surgeons. It's the best place in Arkansas to get you moving again. And if you need urgent orthopedic care, UAMS Ortho Now is right here for you at the Orthopedic and Spine Hospital at UAMS Health, where motion lives and service leads.
The next time you travel to El Dorado and need overnight accommodations, the Haywood Hotel is where you need to stay. The Haywood El Dorado Tapestry Collection by Hilton is a great place to stay if you're in South Arkansas listening to live music or playing the challenging Mystic Creek Golf Club. Take time and relax in their bar for a drink before going out on the town for dinner. The Haywood, 210 South Washington, right in the heart of downtown El Dorado. Search the Haywood El Dorado on the web or call 800-293-0718 for reservations. The Haywood, a Beechwood hospitality property.
Welcome back to this edition of From the Shortgrass, presented by UAMS Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. I am your host, Trey. Have you ever thought about when you were growing up how some things impacted your life, that you just went to an event and saw it for the first time and thought, wow, that might really be neat. I want to try that? Well, that's exactly how it was with golf for Harold Graeter. He attended his first professional golf tournament in Memphis, Tennessee, and he has been hooked ever since on the game of golf. On the tee, Harold Graeter. Harold, thanks for joining me on this edition of From the Shortgrass. So when did you first pick up a golf club and try to play the game of golf?
You know, probably when I was a kid. And Trey, that goes back to being exposed to the tour through, when I was a kid, it was the Danny Thomas Memphis Classic, and then eventually the FedEx St. Jude Classic, and then what it is today as the first round of the FedEx Cup playoffs. And I can remember going to the tournament as a kid and just being enthralled by the sport. I can remember going home, digging a hole in the backyard, putting a tin can down in it to make a hole. And my dad had an old set of clubs. He swung at it, kind of like I do now. He swings at it a couple of times a year. But I remember digging that hole in the backyard and getting his old putter and putting in the backyard. And that was probably, I don't know, 5th, 6th grade or so. Because I've always been attracted to the game and the aura around it. And again, those superstar names of the game that were coming through Memphis each year, being exposed to that at an early age was incredible. It's like, you only saw these people on television. And to have them come to Memphis and you could actually see them in person what was amazing to me. And part of that, was a part of my love of sports. And I think that also fed what eventually became my first career, and that was being a TV guy, a TV sports guy.
So did your dad get upset that you went out in the backyard and dug a hole, or did he tell you, go to the backyard because I don't want you to do it in the front?
Well, the backyard was where my basketball goal was, where our pitching mound was. I mean, it was where
where the sports.
It's where the sports took place at the Graeter household growing up in Memphis. But that's the earliest I remember, and then just hacking around at it. But again, I've always enjoyed the sport. Always enjoyed that one big week of the year with the tour coming to town. And again, Memphis stop on the PGA Tour is 1 year older than the bowl game that I now work at and represent.
Yeah, the AutoZone Liberty Bowl.
Yeah, the football game started in Philly in '59, but my recollection, I think this is accurate, the Memphis stop on the tour first year was 1958. So again, great history with this golf tournament, and we see what it's evolved to, but the biggest of the big and all the Hall of Fame names, anybody who's been anybody in the sport has played in Memphis at least once, with one major exception.
Yeah.
Tiger.
I know.
He came through early in his career to do some charitable things, maybe first tee, but he never, ever played in the Memphis tour stop.
And that's because back when he was really coming into his own on the PGA Tour, it was the stop before the U.S.
The
Open.
Open, yeah.
And so he wouldn't play the week before a major.
Exactly. So we missed out.
It holds a special spot on the PGA Tour. And I think, too, Harold, the fact that they play for the FedEx Cup, Federal Express, based in Memphis.
Yes. And you can't underestimate the importance of FedEx and where the Memphis stop on the PGA Tour would be now a playoff tournament. Don't want to speak for the folks out there, and they do an incredible job, but there was a time when Stanford Financial was the title sponsor, and that turned into a debacle. Tournament almost went under. FedEx, I think they had already been the tournament sponsor, stepped away. Stanford Financial stepped in. Again, as I said, that turned into a debacle financially for the tournament. But FedEx stepped back in, saved the tournament because it was tenuous there for a period. But my gosh, where would Memphis be? Where would this golf tournament be? Where would any of us in the sports business in Memphis be without the incredible support of FedEx and Fred Smith and his team? And, what Fred Smith, unfortunately, passed away recently, but what he and that company have meant to Memphis, just incredible. And they're a worldwide company. I think that has played into the part of why it's important for Memphis, but it's also important from their business perspective, since they are a global company, to be a part of golf, which is a worldwide global game.
Being hooked at an early age, I think, is interesting because you have to have something to draw you to a sport, in my mind, like college football, college basketball. There's something there that you witnessed when you were young.
Absolutely.
That you're like, oh my gosh, I want to do that. Yeah. And then you go out and try it and you figure out, okay, well, maybe I'm not as good as I thought I could be, so let's try this other sport. Some people it is golf. Some people it's not. Some people it's basketball. Some people just have to say, okay, I'm not good at any sport. I'm going to go into business, but golf can help you in business. It is one of the sports that you can play for a lifetime.
It is truly a lifetime game. It really is. And I wish I had played more over the years. Still have time to pick that up, but again, I enjoy when I'm out there occasionally. I enjoy that, but I also like just being in the environment. And again, in Memphis, we're a big, small town. I'm a native Houstonian, but my family moved to Memphis when I was very young, so I am a Memphian. So when I say we, I do mean Memphis. And, to have those major league sports in Memphis. And growing up, for me, that translated to the golf tournament, and we also had a stop on the ATP tennis tour. That was our major league sports. We had minor league baseball, professional baseball, but minor league baseball. But those were the two events that brought the stars of that sport to Memphis. For 20 plus years now, we've had the NBA with the Grizzlies, and we're thankful and appreciative of that. But it's those types of events, and in particular the golf tournament for this conversation, that, again, continues after all these years, since 1958 to the present. The biggest names in the sport of golf come to Memphis.
And you guys with the AutoZone Liberty Bowl put on a golf tournament.
We do.
How ironic.
How about that?
It's a good fundraiser, isn't it?
It is. It is. And our charitable partner is St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, the world's preeminent cancer research hospital. And the work that those doctors do there, and the researchers and the scientists, it's amazing. The lives they save is amazing. Now, unfortunately, there are still children who still succumb to cancer, but where that effort is from the time Danny Thomas founded that hospital to today, it's amazing what has happened. They share their protocols worldwide. It is special. And for us, again, the game of golf, it's a great uniter. This will be the 30th year, 31st, 31 for us with our golf tournament at the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. Started years ago when we were affiliated with Conference USA, and the conference would have their football preseason media days in Memphis, which meant all the coaches were coming.
All of them, yeah.
And most, if not all of the coaches would play in our tournament. So there was that quote-unquote celebrity piece to it. That's changed over the years. But now, again, the effort continues. This year's event coming up on Monday, August 25th. That's preceded by the night before big dinner where we're going to host and honor Vern Lundquist, one of the great voices of the game of golf. And he will be the recipient of our Distinguished Citizen Award, which is a national award that the Bowl has been giving out for almost 50 years now. And some of those names we've mentioned have been honored with that. Fred Smith. And it goes on and on. A lot of luminaries from sports, but also business, government. This year, proud to honor Vern, who is still tied to the game of golf this summer. And the guy's a movie star. He was in Happy Gilmore, the original, and he's in Happy Gilmore 2. So we're looking forward to hearing those stories. But for us, day in, day out at the AutoZone Liberty Bowl, it's about showcasing our city, putting a spotlight on the message of St. Jude, and in a small way, or at least relatively small, but meaningful, raise some dollars for St. Jude. Our summer event, give or take, each year raises about $300,000 or so for St. Jude. We're proud of that, but it takes a lot of folks, as you know, to put on any charity tournament, regardless of the size. Takes a lot of time and effort and the goodwill and help of a lot of folks, and we are blessed by that at the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. So we're looking forward to that again, Monday, August 25th at TPC Southwind.
Very good course.
Course will be in tournament shape. We're going to be, 10 days or so after the first round of the playoffs. So the folks that are going to be playing, and we're going to be sold out. We do morning and afternoon. We'll be well in excess of 60 teams. So it's going to be jam-packed. But those folks will get the full brunt and effect and experience of what the pros will have played just a week before.
If there's someone out there listening and obviously probably going to sell out and can't get in this year and they want to be a part of it next year, what do they need to do? How can they become a part of the golf tournament?
Give me a call. Give us a call at the world headquarters of the AutoZone Liberty Bowl, 901-795-7700. Yeah, this year's tournament, I think, is more or less sold out. But we still have seats available for that dinner with Vern.
Oh, yeah.
And, again, as a sports fan from an early age to where I am now, having been in broadcasting for 15 years or so, to be able to be around literally a legend, not just in one sport, but multiple, and then again, his personality, being in the movies. I mean, they don't come any bigger or better than Vern Lundquist. And for me, being a native Texan, I grew up as a Cowboys fan. These days, that's a little bit of a challenge, but I'm still a fan. But I remember, again, growing up in the 70s, I'm a Staubach era kid. Vern was the voice of the Dallas Cowboys, and that was my early exposure to Vern Lundquist. And then Brad Sham and Frank Gleber, all those great broadcasters that came out of the Dallas market, most, if not all, I think all of those gentlemen were voices of the Cowboys.
I believe you're right.
I think they all had that.
Brad Sham still is.
Yeah. So it's all special.
I want to take you to your television days.
Yeah.
And covering FedEx St. Jude Classic in Memphis. What do you remember about some of the tournaments that you've been out there and some of the things that people might not realize that you got to witness?
For me, Trey, it was just being around the biggest names in the sport, not from a fanboy type of perspective, because I was out there doing my job, but just to get a little bit of an insight and just to be able to have a 5-minute interview with a Nicholas or you name them. Again, they've come through our city, and from a local perspective, and this kind of brings it back home to both of us. There was a young guy who moved to Memphis, who was actually my sister's next door neighbor when he first came to Memphis.
Oh, really? I think I know who you're talking about.
This was back in the days when I was at WMC,
Yep.
back when the news department would get the out-of-town regional newspapers, back when regional newspapers were really meaningful. And one of the papers we got in the newsroom was the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. And I remember reading a story about this young golfer from the University of Arkansas who was the leading driver distance-wise on the PGA Tour.
He could bomb it.
And holy cow, this young guy was coming to Memphis, and when I started checking in, he lived next door to my sister. I'm talking about John Daly. So I met a very young John Daly, and I did a story about John that year. And, of course, now he's, again, one of the all-times, but I knew him when.
Yeah.
And
what was that first meeting like?
I just remember John. I remember doing an interview with him on the driving range to do that story.
Did he have shoes on?
I want to say yes, but don't hold me to that. I'm sure he had a Diet Coke and a cigarette
probably
close by, if not in hand, as we did that. But I just remember him being a bright, really talented, personable guy. And, being in Memphis, that was his new home, and he embraced our city. Eventually John moved from where he was next door to my sister, had a home out at Southwind. And again, in Memphis, this has been said over and over and over again. If you are a part of the community, especially in sports, a big personality, a coach, a John Daly, if you're identified as being from Memphis, if you embrace the community, Memphis will hug you back.
No doubt.
And they'll love you back. And I don't know where John is announced now is calling home when he's announced.
I believe it's Tampa, Florida.
Is it?
Or somewhere down there.
But I want to say back
sometimes
in those...
Dardanelle.
Yeah. I think there was a period, though, when he was identified and was announced as being from Memphis. And again, to this day, he is beloved in our city. And I think John feels the same way about Memphis.
No doubt about it.
But just what a talent. I just remember everybody... just watching him and just being stunned at this guy who would take that club all the way back, almost a contortionist, and but being able to bring that club back at level and just knocking the heck out of it. And it was mind-boggling and amazing and entertaining. And on top of that was the big personality.
He hit it a long ways. You were telling me before we started recording about you had a little run-in with Gary Player one time.
Yeah.
Back when your early days of going out there to the tournament.
As
went with a buddy. You skipped school.
This was back when the tournament was played at Colonial.
Yep.
And was played in the spring when school was still in session. And again, it was a big deal. The PGA Tour's in Memphis. I had another classmate of mine, lived in the same part of town. He was a fan too. And one of our parents would drop us off in the morning. The other parent would us would pick us up in the afternoon. We would just literally spend all day out at the golf tournament, taking pictures, getting autographs, running around.
Yeah.
And of course, this is like, I don't know, 5th, 6th, 7th grade, something like that. I mean, I'm a kid. Didn't know the protocols, but I'm out there taking pictures and just seeing what we could see and getting autographs. And I recall walking up to Gary Player in the middle of a round, coming off a green, and asking for an autograph. I didn't know that was not appropriate.
Yeah.
He turned the request down for the autograph, but he gave me a golf ball, had his initials, GP, on it, and I had it for years and years and years. It still may be stuck away in a box somewhere. Some like him, some don't these days. But for me, I just remember him being gracious, could have totally stiffed me as a little kid. Like, what are you doing? I'm working. I'm in the middle of a round. I don't have time for this, and you shouldn't have done that. But I remember him being gracious to a very young Harold Graeter and receiving that golf ball from him.
How about that? That's awesome. How about Lauren Roberts when he won?
Lauren Roberts, special relationship. And that's another non-Memphis native who moved to our city and has embraced Memphis. Memphis has embraced him. We have become friends over all these years. This goes back years ago when I was still in television. And it shows the kind of person that Lauren is, wanting to give back to his adopted hometown. Because Lauren is a California native, but he embraced Memphis. I think there was a family that was his sponsor that was from Memphis, and eventually he moved. He brought his family to Memphis. But early on, Lauren started a celebrity golf tournament that was benefiting Le Bonheur Children's Hospital, and the money specifically was for sickle cell research and treatment. The boss of the Moss. And again, he had some pretty good success. He had the run at the Open, as I recall. What was it, a playoff? Help me here, Trey.
I think he did lose in a playoff.
And I remember, this is still back in my TV days, I just remember the whole city just buzzing about Lauren and pulling for Lauren. And
waking up early to watch him.
Yeah. And then him just coming up just so close to getting that championship. But he still is important to our city, going through some health challenges these last few years. But he is another much beloved person and personality from the tour in our city.
Harold, you tell me you don't play a lot.
Yep.
But surely you have a favorite course that you've ever played.
I would say just because it's special and unique, and I had a special relationship with TPC early on. Again, this goes back to my TV days. Again, when we talk about Major League Sports, and to have a TPC course built in Memphis, Tennessee, that was big, still is. And back then, I jumped on that train, so to speak, recognizing how important that was to our community and what it could lead to. And I covered the construction of that golf course from the first turn of dirt till it opened. Hubie Green, Fuzzy Zeller were the course designers. Got through the agency that was promoting all of that. The gentleman who owned that ad agency, great friend of mine still today. But I covered all of that, walked that golf course with those guys, went up in a three-seater, four-seater airplane with a photographer and Fuzzy, flew over the golf course to get some aerials at his commentary. And then when the course opened, again, I'm a hacker. But I enjoy the game. Yeah. And again, when Southwind opened, another big event for our city, then doing those, I want to say maybe the first 3 or 4 years, doing a golf tip segment with the pro.
Oh, cool.
Now, it was a grind. My recollection is there was a different golf pro each year for those 4 years.
Yeah.
But again, embracing the game, highlighting TPC Southwind because of what it meant and continues to mean to our city. So throughout my life and my professional career, and now just as a fan, always embracing the game of golf, that golf tournament, what it means to our city, and just being around it. So many memories of all of that. And Trey, just to go way back, and I only recall maybe meeting this gentleman once. and that was Dr. Kerry Middlecoff.
Oh, boy.
And our connection, I have an autographed picture from him because I was, from an early age, was a sports autograph collector. But our linkage was Christian Brothers High School.
Yeah.
He was an alum of CBHS.
Okay.
And one of the things about Brothers Boys, whether you graduated in 1944, 1984, or 2004,
You're all brothers.
we're all brothers. And there's that tight community of Brothers Boys. And I remember, again, meeting him once and getting an autographed picture from him at an early age. But I recall also maybe doing one interview with him when I got into television. But again, from the early days, 40s, 50s, 60s, am I hitting that era right for him?
Yeah, I
again,
think
he
so.
was one of the biggest names in the sport.
He was.
From Memphis, Tennessee.
Wow. Harold, living or deceased, you and 3 others that you could play around the golf with, who would they be?
Wow. I would say Byron Nelson.
Okay.
Never had an opportunity to meet him. I think that part of that is me being a native Texan and him obviously being one of the greats.
Sure.
Maybe a Mickey Mantle.
Okay.
Maybe even further back. Let me take that back because I met Mickey Mantle and interviewed him and was around him a little bit over the years. Somebody like Babe Ruth.
Yeah.
A literal icon. And
I bet he could hit the golf ball like he hit a baseball.
And I bet he'd be fun. So I'd say Byron Nelson, Babe Ruth, Elvis.
Ooh. Yeah.
I never met Elvis. Now, over the years and through my job, I've been around Priscilla, and we honored her at the bowl game here a few years ago. So Babe Ruth, Byron Nelson, Elvis Presley. I'm struggling for the other.
Well, that would be you. That's the foursome.
I'm the fourth.
That's
I'm
the
the fourth.
foursome.
I was going to drive the beer cart and let 4 other guys play.
And just listen to the conversations.
Me, Babe, Elvis, and Byron Nelson.
How about that? Harold, thanks so much for
Trey,
your time.
this has been fun. Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. You bet.
From Central Arkansas to South Arkansas to Northeast Arkansas, across the state to Northwest Arkansas, you will find a Beechwood hospitality property. From the Haywood in El Dorado to the Hilton Garden in Jonesboro to the Doubletree in Bentonville and the Staybridge Suites just south of Baum-Walker Stadium, Beechwood Hospitality has a room for you. Beechwood Hospitality is the leader in hotel property management in the state. Make sure you find a Beechwood Hospitality hotel for your next overnight stay.
Strength is measured not by the number of accounts. Strength is placing value on relationships. It's having the vision and the guts to invest in growth. It's the commitment to responsibly manage your money. At Stevens, we believe that our strengths build success, not only for us, but for our clients. Stevens, member NYSE, SIPC.
I'm Dr. Lowry Barnes. When it comes to orthopedic care, there's no place like the Orthopedic and Spine Hospital at UAMS Health. We built this hospital just for you, with state-of-the-art surgical suites, advanced technology, and the state's largest group of fellowship-trained orthopedic surgeons. It's the best place in Arkansas to get you moving again. And if you need urgent orthopedic care, UAMS Ortho Now is right here for you at the Orthopedic and Spine Hospital at UAMS Health, where motion lives and service leads.
Welcome back to this edition of From the Short Grass, presented by UAMS Health, Orthopedics, and Sports Medicine. I am Trey Schapp. Thanks, as always, to listening to From the Short Grass. Remember, if you have not, follow us on YouTube. We are about to start putting up our YouTube videos, and you will not want to miss those. As always, you can find us wherever you get your podcast. I want to thank Matthew Allen and Blair Allen, Beechwood Hospitality. They know how to manage hotel properties. When you need an overnight place to stay, make sure you're staying at a Beechwood Hospitality hotel. That's it for this edition of From the Short Grass, presented by UAMS Health, Orthopedics, and Sports Medicine. Remember, when you find your ball mark on the green, fix it and a couple of more. Makes the game more enjoyable for everybody else. And I hope to see you sometime soon from the Short Grass.
You have been listening to From the Short Grass, presented by UAMS Health, Orthopedics, and Sports Medicine, a weekly podcast dedicated to the game of golf. This has been a presentation of the Buzz Radio Network in association with Majestic Cubby Productions.